A very warm good evening, sir. We welcome you here for the interview. Here we start, sir. My first question is, being the Vice Chancellor of ADYPU, kindly tell us
Mhm.
about your experience in the education industry.
So first of all, many thanks to College Dunia for inviting me for this interview. It's a pleasure to talk to the prospective students through this portal of yours, and I'm quite happy to be here. So the experience is, you asked me about the experience. I have been now about 27 years in the field of education. So it has been a great experience. The position is fine, but most importantly, it's being in the field of education that is so enjoyable and fulfilling because you get to see the fruits of your work actually growing and doing well in their lives. And there's no other better satisfaction than that.
Okay, moving on to the next. Any significant challenges that you have faced being the Vice Chancellor of the college?
Vice Chancellor of the university, no, I don't think there are any challenges as in particular. On an everyday basis, there are a few things here and there that keep coming up. But otherwise, it's a very enjoyable time. And you are in the company of great minds. You are in the company of young talent. And you are in the company of every day something new that is happening. So it's actually a very heartening time. And then a few transactional issues here and there from an administrative point of view that is there. Or, for example, now, especially when last year, when the COVID pandemic happened and there was an instant lockdown and we had to move to online learning very quickly. So those are kind of things that comes in way in between. But other than that, once you have a great team with you, I don't think these challenges matter quite a lot. Rather, they give you a new opportunity to look at things from a different perspective.
Okay, sir. How do you tend to establish a relation with the students being a Vice Chancellor? How do you make yourself available for the students?
So, my doors have always been open since the time I have been in that field of education, and even today they are. And nowadays, of course, we don't meet in office, but at the same time, the student can write to me. We are also there on various social media platforms. They communicate with me through those. And most importantly, there are so many communication channels that are there now that a student does not find it difficult to reach out to me. And at the same time, I also love when somebody would like to reach out to me and if I could be of any assistance. Most of the time, I would also like to add over here that my colleagues are so efficient that it hardly there is any need for the student to reach out to me in particular. But once in a while, whenever they wish to, they can always reach out and I'm always available.
Okay. How do you create a student-centric environment in your college?
That's a nice, great question. So, since the formation of the university in 2015, when we got the mandate and when we started operating in 2016, from day one, we have always structured our systems to be student-centric. Because it can't be student-centric if you are not structurally aligned in that manner. And that's why the Ajinkya D.Y. Patel University is structurally aligned to be student-centric. I'll give you a very simple example of the student centricity. For example, evaluation is a very, very important aspect in a student's life. And students look for good grades so that they can do well in their lives. And most of the time during the evaluation, or rather after the evaluation, the student get grades or marks. And mostly they have no clue how they got it. Or even if they got it, at the most, if they are dissatisfied, they might apply for a re-evaluation. Instead, at Ajinkya D.Y. Patel University, we have a process called student consent, So we encourage a lot of continuous evaluation, and after every continuous evaluation, when the marks or grades are declared, there is a student consent which is obtained. And when the student consent is obtained, the student gets an opportunity to understand where the student is lacking, where the student has done well. So in a real manner, it is a feedback mechanism that we have set up, and also a very transparent mechanism so that student have a say in the grades that he or she is getting. Similarly, we follow a credit system, which means that the students can choose the credits of their choice in terms of what they want to learn. They can create their own learning pathways, not within the school in which they are studying, like, for example, design or engineering or law or management or hotel management, but they can also choose credits from other school study if they like. The credits are divided into different baskets. There are core credits, there are electives, there are directed electives, there are general education, and the student can choose. So they can actually craft their own learning pathway. And there could be so many such instances that could be given to explain how the university has always been a very student-centric place to learn. And not only that, it is supported at a fundamental level by an enabling infrastructure, and be it a technology infrastructure, be the system processes infrastructure. So this infrastructure is there to actually ensure that the student centricity is there all the time.
Okay, sir. How do you integrate value-based education with your curriculum?
We have a slightly different terminology that we use. We have what we call as, first of all, as a university, we prefer our students to be T-shaped learners. So if you imagine a T, then for us, the vertical of the T is the depth of the domain that the student has chosen as a program study. So it could be engineering, it could be law, it could be hotel management, it could be management. So it is the T, the vertical of the T is that. And then there is a horizontal to it that offers the breadth of learning. And that breadth of learning is also very important, because that breadth of learning is what provides the context to the depth of learning. And that breadth of learning is what we identify is with what we call a general education. So in the university, we have about 25% of the credits in all programs dedicated for general education. And general education courses are divided into 4 subcategories. It is expression, it is identity, it is innovation, and it is entrepreneurship. And in these 4 categories, we every term identify credits, put them up for the choice being made by the student, and then the student choose from the general education credit as to what they wish to proceed with, and accordingly they go ahead.
Okay. So what is the greatest strength of Ajinkya D.Y. Patil University?
The greatest strength of the Ajinkya D.Y. Patil University, I suppose, is in the term called innovation. We look at innovation as a 360-degree pursuit for us. And when I say it's a 360-degree pursuit, innovation is about innovation in the nature of the programs that we run, because today's times are changing very fast. And naturally, you need programs which are in tune with the changing times. So innovation in the nature of the program, innovation in delivery of the programs. Naturally, as the technology is evolving, as things around us are evolving, also the students who are coming to us are evolving. They have different habits, they have different aspirations, they have different expectations. And hence, the delivery of programs to them, there has to be innovation in that, and that's the second aspect of innovation. And third being innovation as an outcome of the research or the academic rigor that happens within the university.
Okay. What goals do you have in your mind for your institution in the coming years?
The goals that we have in front of us is to strengthen our teaching and learning. That is the first and foremost goal that we have taken up for ourselves, and we have just unveiled this January only we unveiled a teaching and learning vision for the Ajinkya Bhai Patel University, because we understand that that's the primary work of a university, that is to teach well and to ensure that the students are able to learn that. Because if you don't focus on this, you will not be able to serve your purpose as being a university. So that's one. Second is being an integral part of the society. Universities are definitely a part of the social fabric, and being a part of the social fabric, how can we bring about a change in the society, or how can we contribute to the society, how can we contribute to the other people, industries, organizations, and so on. That's the second goal. Third goal, then I would say, would be more quantitative goal of going up in the national rankings, as well as NAC accreditations and things like that. So those are the three main goals, I would say, that we would have as a university in front of us.
Okay. Moving on to the last question, sir. Being a vice chancellor, any message you want to give to the current youth?
The message that I would like to give to the current youth is be curious. It is, at the end of the day, it's the curiosity is the mother of all achievement, and hence being curious is a very important ability that you need to develop as you grow. Whatever is happening, you have to have the innate curiosity to try and understand what is going on, to make meaning out of it, and then to evolve yourself in accordance with that. And that is why curiosity, in my opinion, is a extremely important factor that the students have to have within them. Once they are curious, then they can find more questions to solve. And then when they solve these questions, that sets them apart from many others. And that is where I would like to add that for being curious, you need to expand the horizons of your thinking. You should read good things, you should hear good music, you should watch good movies, you should look around and travel around. Nowadays, it's not possible perhaps, but hopefully the present times will go away, and then again the travel will resume. So being curious and expanding the horizons of your thinking boundaries are the two important things that I would say.
Okay, sir. That's all for the day, sir. It was a nice meeting you. Have a nice day, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.